Hi, welcome to my knitting channel. I thought I would start a knitting podcast, a knitting and crochet crafting podcast. I feel like I've been really diving into my knitting and crochet this year. A bit about me, my name's Annie. I have been knitting and crocheting on and off since 2020. I am very lucky that I have a beautiful grandma who taught me how to both knit and to crochet. And my first ever project, actually, fun fact, was a jumper for my boyfriend. This was 5 years ago in 2020. He is now my husband, so we have beat the sweater curse, just putting that out there. So yes, taught by my grandma. She's super talented. Was very lucky to have her to sort of help me troubleshoot and grow my skills and develop. And then I sort of jumped from there to learning from YouTube tutorials, and I just love YouTube. I love watching so many crafting YouTubers. I'll put some of my favorites up here who I really enjoy watching and following. And I've just been really wanting to start my own little podcast and channel for a while, just to have a space to yap about knitting and crochet, which I just love. And I feel like I don't really know that many people who want to hear me yap about it for a very long time. So yes. Today's video is going to be quite a general one, so I thought I'd start a little bit with talking about my 2025 wrapped. So I have a massive pile of projects right here. If you see me looking down too, that's because I've got some little notes so I don't forget any projects, and I'm losing some projects because there's so many piled up here next to me. I'll then also talk through some whips, some works in progress that I have at the moment. And finally, I am going to chat through some of my 2026 plans, which I'm very excited about. Okay, so starting with a bit of a wrap from this year. I have been absolutely terrible at committing to knitting and crocheting regularly. So I actually took a really long hiatus this year for probably like the first few months for sure. And then I really got back into it like really strongly. So I'll run you through it. It's not like, probably not like a massive, huge amount, but I'm still really proud of what I have made this year. In saying this year, I feel like maybe one or two might be from last year, but I only started wearing them this year, so I'm going to include them in this wrap up. Also, if you are a loved one of mine, please do not watch, because I will be going through Christmas presents, because I have made the terrible decision to knit and crochet gifts for pretty much everyone I know, which is not an easy undertaking, and I'm regretting it very strongly. But yes, please switch off now. So starting with one that I actually can't find for the life of me. I've got no idea where it is. So I'll just insert a picture of it. But I made this cutie little striped scarf just in a 2x2 rib. Self-drafted pattern, took me a few stops and starts to get the width right, especially doing 2x2 rib. It shrinks quite a lot. But I was just loving a blue and brown stripy combo. This was just using some Spotlight merino wool, nothing special. You'll see as I sort of go on with my projects, I sort of started investing more in some nicer brands, or going for some beautiful Australian brands. In saying that, also please comment below or let me know of any of your favorite brands. Bonus points for small Australian brands and indie dyers. I'd love to start just curating and investing more in some beautiful yarn and supporting small businesses. I have been keeping an eye out in the op shops. Unfortunately, the op shops near me are pretty low with their yarn and crafting inventory, but that's okay. Still going to keep an eye out and see what I can come across. So yes, stripy scarf to start. And then I sort of got a bit into these, but the scoodie, the crochet scoodie, I made 3 of these actually. So this one's for me, and then I made a really cute one for my sister. Put a picture here. And then I also made one for my friend as well, my friend Chloe. And I just love this pattern. I used the video tutorial on TikTok. It's by averp. She's also one of my favorite YouTubers as well. But it's just such a fun pattern. I think it's such a cute little crochet hood. Let me put this on. See how we go, like this. So I was really enjoying wearing it. Like the little hood, but really sort of down like this with the hood at the side here. I felt like that just looked really cute. Obviously I'm in my summer clothes because I'm in Australia at the moment. But that looked really cute when you were all rugged up in your winter coats and stuff. And yeah, just a really fun project. Love it so much. Really good gift one as well. Again, I just used some Spotlight yarn for this. I think it was a wool blend that I used. If I can find it, I'll just pop it on the screen as well. But love that. That was super fun. Great pattern, would recommend. Okay, now next we are getting into some Chrissy presents. So first one looks like a little croissant, but I made my beautiful mum a Sophie scarf. So the pattern by petiteknit. I know it's definitely having its moment, but it's just such an easy pattern, and I just think a little hood is so cute. My mum loves pink and purple, so I found this gorgeous yarn. I believe it's called Perrin merino wool. If I've said that wrong, I'll insert the correct one above here. But it's so soft. I probably could have maybe gone down a needle size and adjusted it a little bit more because it is like a little bit loose, but it's really comfortable. This has been blocked as well, and it blocked out so nicely. So it was a little bit, I feel like my tension's not great when I knit, so it was a little bit funky looking before I blocked it. I learned a lot of new techniques. I've never done the I-cord edging as you go, and I feel like you can tell if you look too closely. If you don't look too closely, it looks totally fine. But yeah, this is, again, just such a cute project. Let me see if I can put it on here. Okay, and then I made it a little bit long because, again, knowing my mum, I feel like she'll just love wearing it, just like a little hood like that. And it's just such a beautiful color. It's one of her favorites. So really excited to give that to her for Christmas. Yeah. After that one, I thought, you know what, girl, we just got to give the Sophie scarf a try. Why not? So I made 2 little Sophie scarves. I love rolling them up. They're just so cute. So this first one is in this beautiful alpaca yarn by Cheska. I'll put the exact color and details on the screen, but it is just this gorgeous green, quite a bold color choice, I know, but it's for my beautiful grandma who taught me how to knit and crochet. Green is her favorite color. So this one is the smaller size, and it just wraps around the neck once. But really easy pattern. I just think it's a really cute gift. My grandma, I feel like, will get a lot of nice wear out of it because it's not too restrictive and you can just chuck it in your handbag. It's, you know, not as big as a commitment as like a big bulky scarf. So yeah, first Sophie scarf. And then I made another Sophie scarf in this beautiful beige color. This is from Morris & Sons, and it's their brand of merino wool. Been loving Morris & Sons. Did a huge haul from them, and I've been really using a lot of their yarn to make a lot of Christmas gifts. Haven't blocked this one yet, so it does need a block, but it is the bigger size Sophie scarf. And I made this one for my beautiful mother-in-law. Again, I feel like will really like this because it's, you know, a bit smaller than a usual scarf, very portable, just very cute. This one can wrap around the neck twice. Yeah, so another Sophie scarf there. I had some fun making some Fisherman beanies. The pattern I used was the Fisherman's cap by Cate Evans on Ravelry. I'll link it below. And again, using that gorgeous merino wool from Morris & Sons. This one is in clove. This one is a beautiful navy. I'll put the colorway on the screen as well. But this merino wool just turned out so nice in these Fisherman beanies. I love with this pattern, you can see up the top, it sort of forms a little pattern as you do the decreases. And you know, you can wear these as a longer one or as a little shorter beanie like that, and just so gorgeous. So these are both for my little brother. This is for my little brother. I say little brother, he's like 23 and way taller than me, but he's still the baby brother. So this is for him, this little navy one. And then this one here is for my sister's boyfriend. So cute little matching caps for the two boys. So love these. Okay, next ones, I don't actually have them with me because I have gifted them, so I'll put pictures in. But the first one was I made some mittens for the first time. That was my first time ever using DPNs. It was an experience. They turned out real wonky. One turned out horrific, one turned out really cute. One thing about me, if I can get away with it, I won't frog something and do it again. It's a really bad quality of mine. It's something I would like to address in 2026, but for now anyway. So they turned out really cute. I just used some scrap yarn. I think it was just like a fuzzy acrylic yarn that I've had in my stash. And originally I was gonna make them for a friend, but they turned out massive because again, I also am really bad at making a gauge swatch too. I have been getting better at that. Later, you know, the last few months, I've actually been doing a gauge swatch before every project. I've been really proud of myself. Growth. So I ended up actually giving them to my husband, and it was very cute. He wore them so much in winter. He took them to work, showed them off to everyone. He's my biggest fan. So yeah, they were really fun. I would love to make a pair for myself for winter next year. As I mentioned, I live in Australia. We're in summer at the moment. It gets very hot, and on the hot days, the thought of even knitting something for winter makes me feel even hotter. So I don't tend to do a lot of like garment knitting in summer. I'll instead crochet or do some accessories and stuff like that, but I'll talk about that in my 2026 plans. The last little accessory that I made this year was I made a wine holder bag. I made it using some cotton yarn that I got from Spotlight like 4 years ago. It's a really pretty sky blue color, and I hand sewed some beads onto it. It was a really fun project. I made it for my friend's birthday. I'll put a little picture of it up here because obviously I don't have it anymore. A few things that I learned during that, ideally I would have liked to have used circular handles instead of the half circles that I did use. I just found the crochet sort of bunched up a bit, that I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I couldn't find any circular handles. I love the look of the little beads. I've been really inspired by beaded crochet. That's a skill I'd like to hone in 2026, is learning how to sort of do the beading as you go as well, because I feel like it was quite time consuming individually sewing them on, but a really cute project, and I'm very happy with how that turned out. So now moving on to some clothing that I've made this year. So I have a few ones here, and then I think I just have two more that I don't have because they were gifts. So let's start with this one on top, which I just adore. This is my gorgeous Alba cardigan. The pattern is by Rose Svane. She just has the most beautiful crochet patterns, and as soon as I saw this I knew I had to make it. I love a red and blue combination, and the contrast of the black and white as well was just so nice. So this turned out so beautifully. I have worn it a few times. I managed to sneak in a couple of wears before it started heating up, and I already can't wait to wear this again next year when it cools down a little bit again in Australia. I lost yarn chicken about 3 times while I was making this, through nobody's fault but my own. Again, I don't gauge watch, so hence why I lost yarn chicken so many times. I started by using the recommended yarn from the pattern, which is the Mayflower Easy Care Big Merino Wool, and I ordered it from Hobby. To give you some context for how long this took me, I ordered that around the start of the year from Hobby. When I ran out, I went to order more and found out Hobby had stopped shipping to Australia, because it took me so long to finish this. I didn't really want to try and find again an order from somewhere. I had been exclusively ordering from Hobby. As I said, I hadn't really expanded out with my yarn suppliers and building my knowledge and use of things, different yarns and fibers and suppliers at that stage. So I ended up just taking a few strands and going to my local Spotlight, trusty Spotlight, and I just found, you know, some random yarns to sort of color match. I think I did a pretty good job matching it. I feel like you can slightly tell the difference. So the collar and then a couple of rows of the white here are different. All the blacks were fine. It was just the white that I ran out of. And then I just got these little buttons from Spotlight to put on. I feel like they were a perfect match. This was a really fun pattern to make. I hadn't crocheted in quite a while when I did make this one, and I was just really happy with how it turned out. I do find with crochet garments, I used to make so many jumpers and tops and stuff in crochet, but I just found they got really heavy, and so they sort of stretched out a lot. Even though I don't hang mine to store them, I do fold them. Once I started knitting more garments for myself and getting into the construction of knitting, I just sort of pivoted to that because I just prefer how it feels. It's a bit softer, it's a bit lighter. But I feel like this one really works as like a jacket. So to be crocheted, it works really well. It is a bit heavy, but really, really warm and cozy. Would recommend this one. And then I'd only previously constructed jumpers in panels, so making a front panel, a back panel, and 2 panels for the sleeves. And I love that technique. I think it's tried and tested, it's really reliable, but I did really want to branch out and, you know, learn how to do a raglan knit. I have done a raglan before with crochet, but never in knitting. So I started with a failed one. I'll put a picture up here. The neckline was rancid. It was terrible. It was like a square. There was no German short row shaping. I had no idea what that even was. I ended up having to frog the whole thing. I say frog, but it's just sitting in my cupboard and it needs to be frogged because, again, I'm really bad at frogging things. Unfortunately, that was so bad that I couldn't get away with that. Then I sort of really committed myself to actually putting in a lot of effort and learning how to do a proper raglan with short row shaping and just doing something that I would really love to wear. I usually make the mistake of, I love bold colors, I really do, but I actually find in my day-to-day life, I tend to go for more, not neutral colors necessarily, but like whole colors. So my Alba cardigan, though it's bolder, those are all colors that I really like. I love wearing my blacks, my whites, my reds and blues. I also love wearing brown, and I don't actually have any brown jumpers. And I thought for this one, no, I'm not going to do like a bold color or a print or a pattern or anything like that. I'm just going to do a nice brown, a nice neutral, because I feel like I'll get so much wear out of it. So I made the Roll With Me sweater by Knitsbyautumn, and I made it in this yarn. Again, just picked it up from Spotlight. It is a wool blend, I believe. I'll put the exact one up on the screen, but it turned out to be this really, really nice beigey brown color. And I learned so many new techniques with this pattern. I just thought it was such a well-written pattern for someone who was totally new to raglan shaping in knitting, and particularly the, you know, shaping at the back was very foreign to me. I did watch a lot of tutorials, did make some mistakes, and I really committed to just doing it properly, but I am so happy with how this turned out. The only adjustment that I made from the pattern was, personally, I love a big baggy sleeve. I don't like a fitted sleeve on me. So instead of doing the decreases, I just kept it all the same towards the end. I have worn this so much. When it was cold, I was wearing this every single day. I just love it so much. And next year I want to make another one in a different color, maybe like a red or something. I feel like I don't have a good red jumper, so that would be beautiful. Even a black would be really nice. Such a great pattern, highly recommend. Because I liked that pattern so much, I ended up buying the male version as well. Again, I'm not great at I'm not at that level yet where I feel like I would be confident enough to adjust a pattern outside of what's specified in it. Hopefully I will get there one day, but not quite yet. So I bought the male pattern and I made one for my husband. So here it is. He chose this yarn, so it's in a charcoal, again, that Morrison Sons merino wool. I did the decreases on the arm, but just adjusted it slightly so I didn't do as many. He's like me where he doesn't like it super tight on the arm, so that was a change that I made. And then the only thing I sort of have to change, again, ran out of yarn chicken. I didn't have enough yarn to sort of do the size neck that I would have liked, so I'm gonna frog this back. This is next on my list to do. Frog this back and then just re-knit the neck so it rolls a bit more like my one. He's worn this so much, he really loves it. It's just, this is such a nice yarn. Like, it felt really nice as I was knitting it up, but particularly after blocking, like, it's just so cozy and soft, and I feel like it's going to be definitely one of my go-tos for jumpers now. I really do like using a merino wool in jumpers. It doesn't irritate me. So yeah, really, really like this one as well. And then the next two, or should I say the last two that I made, I don't have in front of me because they were both gifts. So the first one actually is what sort of got me back into knitting this year. One of my best friends moved states and I wanted to give her a little going away present. And we had talked about, you know, what jumpers she would like me to make for her. And she chose some beautiful inspo, I'll put it on the screen, of some gorgeous rainbow scrappy sort of style jumpers. So she picked all the yarn and ordered it that she wanted, and then I made her this jumper and I just love it. I think it's so cute. I love a big balloon sleeve, so what I do for that is I just knit the sleeve straight, and then in the row before I do the ribbing for the cuff, I just do a knit two together around, and that creates a gorgeous like balloon sleeve, so it's nice and puffy. I think the colors she chose were really, really beautiful. She chose some yarn when hubby was still shipping to Australia and just chose so many different colors, and I had the best time mixing and matching different stripe lengths, and there was a lot of ends to weave in because obviously I wasn't carrying the yarn because I wasn't really repeating colors in any particular order. So lots of ends to weave in, but it was so worth it. Something that I would change is, again, that it's got me back into knitting, but my strong point was never really necklines as well. So the neckline ended up being quite wide. It does have a cute sort of like, you know, boat neck sort of feel. But I do wish I had better skills at that time to make her a nicer neckline. That aside, I'm still really happy with the jumper and she loved it. And then finally, I was on my blue and brown stripe kick, and one of my good friends had a baby who turned 1, and so I made him a little baby jumper with blue and brown stripes. It was the sweetest. They loved it, and it was just really fun. I love making baby clothes because they knit up so quickly and they just look so cute. I just think it's really special as well to have like something handmade. I was really lucky as a child, and my siblings were, as I mentioned, my grandma taught me how to knit and crochet. So she had, you know, we had some beautiful hand knit garments growing up, which we were really lucky to have. And, you know, cute little pictures from when we were babies in our little dresses that were knit by my grandma. And I just think that's really special. It's like a little heirloom to have. So made that really cute jumper, and that was a fun project. That was pretty self-drafted. I think I looked at a few different free patterns just to get an idea of like the 12-month sort of measurements, and then I just sort of made it up from there. So those are all of my finished projects for 2025. Next, we have some whips, my works in progress. So I've got a couple on the go, and then I actually did a really big yarn stash clean out recently, and I discovered a few projects that are actually pretty cool, and I would really like to jump back into them and finish them. So starting strong, my first project is in my little cute Parley basket here. I have been making an Olga sweater. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but basically where I'm at is I have done the body and it's looking really lovely, and then I've casted on one of the sleeves and I'm just doing the decreases. I found this to be a pretty easy pattern. The shoulder construction was a little bit difficult because again, I'm getting used to like short row shaping and all that jazz, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. This is a present for my sister for Christmas. She does know about this. She picked the yarn and the colors and she asked for this pattern specifically. So the yarn again is Morris & Sons, and it is the Empire 8-ply Superfine Merino in olive and columbine, I think. Again, beautiful yarn. I love the colors that she chose, though it is kind of giving Cosmo and Wonder in Slick or a little bit of Wicked, but still really cute. So enjoying making that. It's been taking me a little while to do it, I have to say. I think because there's just a lot more like little fiddly bits with this jumper to do than just, you know, like knitting in the round. So because I'm decreasing, but I don't think it'll take me too much longer to finish that. So the next whip that I have, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I am trying to make socks for the first time. Here they are right here. Any Australians, particularly Victorians, you may know what I'm going for here. These are Richmond themed socks, which is an AFL team, and they are for my, well, I was hoping to make 2 pairs for my brother-in-law and my father-in-law. I don't know if that's going to happen. I am really not a sock making gal, I've realized. First, I really don't like DPNs, but I just can't seem to wrap my head around the construction for this. Like, first part, easy, so good. The heel took me a little bit to do, but I can't seem to wrap my head around how to join onto here and sort of like where to go from there. I'm following the Vanilla Socks pattern, Vanilla Socks for Dad pattern by Megan Shufelt on Ravelry. And the yarn is Regia 4-ply. It's a wool and polyamide mix that I got from a Morris & Sons order again. I'm not a huge fan of how the yarn feels. It's quite scratchy. I don't like a scratchy sock. I did order it online, which was my mistake, so I didn't, you know, feel it. And I haven't made socks before, so these are my first ones. Any suggestions for yarns that are good for socks? I'm all ears. Please let me know. But yes, we will see how these go and turn out. So the next little project, just a little one. It is another baby project, very much a whip. I've only done a little bit, but it is going to be the Purl Soho top knit baby hat with, it's got this gorgeous rolled hem. I just love a rolled hem. And the yarn is just some baby acrylic yarn that I got from Spotlight ages ago, but it's just really soft. I've made a few things for friends' babies in this yarn, and I feel like it's really good. It's very easy on the skin. It's just a really nice yarn to use. So this is turning out super cute. I'm hoping to have this done by just after Christmas for my friend's baby. Like I mentioned, I did a really big yarn clean out and went through my stash. I donated a bunch of yarn that I wasn't using. I haven't bought a lot of the yarn that I use. I've been really lucky that I was able to take my grandma's stash, and then a family friend gifted me a bunch of old yarn that she had collected when she used to knit and crochet, but she hasn't been doing that lately. So I've been really lucky that I've had so much to work from. But we don't have a lot of storage in our house, so I just really need to sort of be a bit more mindful and cut down. I did have a lot of beautiful yarn, but I did donate it to the op shops because I would like it to be recycled and reused. But I kept the ones that I foresee myself using, or ones that I actively have plans to use. While I was doing that though, I actually found these 2 whips that I just adore, and I have no idea why I didn't finish them, and so I really want to pick them back up. The first ones, they're even still on the needles, and you know, these are my interchangeable needles. I would have been looking for this size for so many projects. I think this has been sitting on them for like over a year. But yes, anyway, they were just sitting in my stash. First is this 2x2 scrappy scarf. It is just beautiful. I went through a phase last year and the year before where everything I made was scrappy, everything. And it's so fun to do because I had sort of inherited like a lot of yarn. I had a lot of mismatches of colors and fibers, and I found doing scrappy projects, it just always looked beautiful together. While I love making scrappy things, I found that I just didn't wear them as much. I do reach for them occasionally, but just not as much as like the full color pieces that I talked about earlier. Anyway, this scarf, we're pretty close to being done. Not super close, probably like halfway, but I would really like to pick this back up and finish it. I think I could easily work on this again to be ready for winter next year. I love a scrappy, colorful scarf to just brighten up an outfit. So, and a 2x2 rib in a scarf. I spoke about the other one I made. I just really love a 2x2 rib in a scarf. So I will be finishing that. And the second whip is a granny square scrap jumper. I am really impressed with myself actually. So it's nothing special about it. It's just two really big granny squares. And I believe what I did was I think I did a square to about here, and then I just added 3 rows of the granny stitch just to widen the sides. And I have put it together on one side, but it's just with a scrap piece of yarn on this side. So really pretty colors though. It's that side and this side. Again, a mix of all different fibers, great stash busting project. And then I've done a little bit of the sleeve square. So in no rush to finish this one, but I would like to finish it again for winter next year. I feel like the tones of this one it's got a lot of those deep reds, pinks, oranges, little sprinkle of the yellow and the blue and the green in it. But I feel like those deeper colors I just really love, and I'm very drawn to those as opposed to a project that's primarily composed of bright, scrappy colors. So yeah, I feel like I'll get a lot more wear out of this one than ones I've made in the past. So definitely want to finish that as well. Now we're moving on to 2026 plans. So this is just going to be brief. I could talk for so long about my 2026 plans, but I would just like to focus on the ones that I really genuinely want to do right now. And hopefully I can look back on this video and see that I've ticked them off. So I'm going to separate this into categories. So number 1, homewares. I would love to learn and get into doing filet crochet. I have ordered some specific yarn and a smaller hook to start this. I have just been seeing this all over Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram. I particularly love when you do a smaller filet crochet piece and you frame it and the frame is color drenched. So what I mean by that is the background behind the filet crochet is one color and the frame itself is that same color. I love it with red, I love it with blue. I just love that color drenched look. So I feel like that's relatively easy to do too. There's lots of frames that you can find at the op shop and easily paint that up with a little paint sample. The next thing I'd like to do is to do some coasters. So I actually do have some coasters I crocheted, I want to say like 4 years ago now. I'll go get them. Okay, I'm back. Here are 2 of them. I do have a set of 4, but they're sort of like all around the house. These are very well loved. They have been washed lots, used lots. I really love them. I would just love to make some more. So when we have people over, we've got more coasters. I found these coasters on Pinterest. I tried to find who made them originally, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they are from Mudwitch, and they are just beautiful. And I feel like I've got a lot of scrap, colorful cotton yarn that would just look really good in that coaster design. So ideally, I'd love to do those too. And then finally, I would really like to do some little ornaments for Christmas next year, because I didn't do that in time for this year. But I found, I was watching this YouTuber, Hip Knit Hooray, go check her channel out. And she did a little wrap up and made these gorgeous little ornaments. I think there's one, I've got them on my Ravelry, so I'm just gonna get up who made them. So we've got the tiny little donut, and that is by Julie Williams on Ravelry. And then the mini crop puff by Geraldine Yang. So I'd love to make up a few of those for next year, for little gifts, or just for our little Christmas tree as well. And I think getting a start on them early next year would be ideal, because I can't rely on myself to do them at the last minute. Section number 2, accessories. First up is the Brigitte headband by Tamara Jordan on Ravelry. This is a gorgeous design. I love a thick headband. I really enjoy wearing them, and I would really like to knit myself up one for winter. I think red would be really nice. I've got a lot of black, just jersey ones, but I think a really nice colorful one would be great. Again, probably a solid color or just a stripe, I think would be ideal. So the next accessory that I'd really love to do is the felted knit bag by, I hope I said this right, Keniske Crochet. I believe I saw this first on TikTok and then I saw it on their YouTube channel. This bag is just beautiful, and I love that it's felted because it gives it a bit more structure than keeping it just knit as well. The colors that they chose for their bag are just phenomenal. Again, so many ideas using like color matching, color theory to do, and I feel like I've hopefully got enough of the right kind of yarn in my stash that I could use and just, you know, use it up and make a cute little bag with it. Next, I'd love to make a Sophie hood for myself, and I would particularly love to do this one in a dark brown, like in this picture here. I, again, loved wearing my scoodie. It's so gorgeous, but I love just like a plain color knitted hood as well to alternate with. So a Sophie hood in dark brown is definitely on my list for me. I would also love to make myself some groove warmers. These are by Minigru Studios. They are beautiful, so fuzzy, so cute. And again, you can color match and make some beautiful combinations with these. I think I would probably have to get new yarn for these ones. So not immediately on my list, but probably closer to winter next year. I'd love to make these ready to go for the colder season. The next project I'd love to do is the Rybka pouch by Right in the Sea Witch, I believe. This is just a cute little fish pouch that you can put on your bag as like a bag charm. I've been getting into, you know, hooking on not just charms, but like, you know, little pins and stuff on my bags. And I just think this is a really cute, easy project that I'd love to make up. And again, I could just use yarn that I've already got in my stash, and I'll use this as well. And then finally, I mentioned with my wine holder, but I've been really into beaded crochet. There's been so many beautiful examples I've seen on Instagram and on Pinterest. So I'd really love to learn how to do it as you go as well, because I know you can do that. So I'd love to build up my skills there, but just doing some little pouches, some bags, some accessories. I've even seen tops with little beads on them, like a mesh top with beads. I just think it's so chic, so beautiful, and so many great opportunities. With beads too, you know, you can source these from the op shop. They've got so many great necklaces that you can take apart, reuse the beads. So there's just lots of great ideas I have running in my head. So I'd really love to do that as well. And then finally, and this is actually the smallest category, but clothing. There are only 2 items that I'd really like to do. Item number 1, the striped cardigan by Loupy Studios. This has been on my list for so long. I am just obsessed. I love all of Ivia's patterns, all of Loupy Studios patterns. Something about this one in particular, just the fit of it and all the color combinations that I've seen everyone do, I just would really love to make one for myself. Again, I've been loving watching people make these and using them as like a scrap buster to use up their yarn. So I've got so many ideas, so much yarn that I could use and just make a beautiful cardigan. And I feel like this would just be a really fun project, and I feel like I'd get lots of wear out of a cute little knitted striped cardigan. The last pattern, the last wearable I'd love to do is actually from this beautiful book that I have. I have Knit by Rose Knitwear. This book is so beautiful. It's on my coffee table along with Close Knit by Rybka. And I just think it's gorgeous, like with all the colors, it just looks really cool in our house. But I actually haven't made anything from it yet. So I really want to make the Scribble top. I really like the black or the darker colorway in that one. So I think that's my plan. And I feel like that would be a really fun project to do and just perfect for summer as well. So definitely one that I want to get onto early next year so I can make the most of the hot weather and wear that one. That is all from me today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I've really enjoyed yapping about all of my knits and my makes, and I am really excited to hopefully continue sharing everything that I've made as well. I'll put my Instagram and TikTok below as well, and all the details of all the patterns and everything, but would love to hear from you and what you guys are working on too. Thanks for watching. Bye.